now, whoever this word is for, I want you to know that God is going to do something so remarkable in your life. He is going to put you in a position to where you are able to give the way you want to give. Yes, there are going to be specific restrictions pertaining to who you're going to give to. And I'll talk about the restrictions in another video. But in this video, I'm going to talk about the amazing opportunity that God is going to give you to bless somebody beyond what they could imagine. And that is because the way how God is about to runneth your cup over, you are going to have plenty of blessings to be able to share with so many people without jeopardizing yourself in the process. I know in the past you may have been giving to a lot of people and you don't think about it because that's just naturally who you are. Unfortunately, there were times where you jeopardized yourself in the process of giving to other people. God is going to put you in a position where you can help people get back on their feet, where you will be that stepping stone. But God wants you to take heed of something. Just because He is putting you in a position to bless someone, and you know that if God is telling you to help somebody, there's obvious reasonings, and most likely they're a good person, and most likely they deserve it. So just because you are aware of that, that does not mean that you have to completely throw discernment out the window. You know, in this season, God is teaching many of us not to talk too much. We as children of God, we love to talk, and we don't even know we're doing it sometimes. And when you are around somebody who God is saying, yes, you're going to assist this person, you're going to help this person, you're going to be there for this person, we tend to cross boundaries because we think we're in a safe zone. And yes, we are in a safe zone. However, being in a safe zone does not necessarily mean that we are to completely tell everybody our business and tell everybody what we have going on in our lives in the process of trying to help them. Again, you may not even know that you do this until it actually happens and you catch yourself in the moment and you're like, whoa, now I see what Stephanie was saying in that prophetic word, because I'm wise around people who I know are deceptive. But when it comes to this particular person who God wants me to assist or who God is sending me to help pertaining to an assignment in their life, I forgot that I'm still supposed to be discerned when it comes to my own life. Sometimes you just need that reminder before it happens. There is a particular woman that I saw in this prophetic vision. And you went to this woman. This is someone that you know. And this is actually a good person. This is not someone that dabbles in witchcraft. This is not someone that hates on you. And here's how you're going to know exactly who it is, because God showed me something specifically about your situation. They are connected with people from your past that you had to release. And a lot of the people that they were connected to, these individuals have already tried to come back in your life. And they've already tried to come back in your life because they saw the wonder that God was doing in your life. So you noticed in that moment that all of them coming back, it was for an opportunity. So they had opportunist vibes, because before they never came back when you were in a bad position, when you were struggling, and you know, when warfare was too much for you to bear. They did not call you, they didn't check in on you or anything like that. But as soon as God started doing wonders in your life, and as soon as people started to see the oil, because it left the residue everywhere, that is when everyone tried to reach back out. That is when everybody wanted to see what is up with this child of God. That is when everybody started calling you a child of God, because in the past they called you everything but a child of God. But you see, this particular person, they did not come back in your life when they saw God was doing good things in your life. They did not call you when they saw God was doing good things in your life. They didn't check in on you at all. They may have checked in through other people. How is this child of God doing? Are they well? But you would have never known because no one told you. But this is not a bad person. this is actually someone that has morals. And let me tell you why. Because what God was showing me was this individual, they saw how everybody that spoke bad about you, that everybody that mistreated you, they saw how quickly all these people picked up the phone to call you, tried to be around you, tried to receive something from you. They saw how quickly everyone changed their perception of you when they realized what God was doing in your life. And they know that it was disgenuine. And because they have morals, it's not that they didn't want to talk to you. It's not that they didn't care about you. What it is they felt like they were undeserving to try to come back in your life at a time like this. They felt undeserving to pick up the phone and call you and see how you're doing because all these years, they never did it. So they didn't want to come in only because they can see what God is doing in your life. They didn't want to call you only because they can see what God is doing in your life. They felt like that would be disgenuine. And they knew themselves that had they been in your shoes, they would have asked themselves, why now are you coming back? Why now are you checking in on me? And they did not want to be in that situation because they knew that they would not have respected that themselves. So this is actually someone that is a person of morals. And this is not someone that deceived you in the past. This is someone that was just associated with a lot of people that deceived you. But they did not deceive you themselves. What God was showing me was He blessed you. Your cup was running over. And He specifically told you what to do in that person's life. However, when you went to that person and you started to communicate what God wanted you to do for them, they were shocked. They did not expect it. In fact, they still felt undeserving. And in the process of you explaining what God wants you to do in their life, you ended up speaking about what God has been doing in your life. And although you mentioned a bunch of amazing things that God was doing in your life, there was one specific thing that you mentioned where I was able to see the facial expression on this individual's face completely shift. And it was a very fast shift. I always tell you guys how you'll know that somebody was triggered by you sharing an amazing moment in your life, and how you'll know when the seed of jealousy has been planted within them is when you share something with them and their facial expression changes for a quick second. You're able to catch it before they even noticed it. And usually when they notice it, they try to shift quickly back. We were specifically talking about the things that God was doing for you, and there was one particular thing that you mentioned that shifted their facial expression. That was when the seed of jealousy was planted. Now, it does not mean that they're trying to sabotage you. It does not mean they're going to try to block you. It just means that that was a revelation right there that you said too much. And a lot of the times, this happens to us. Now, it does not mean that God does not want you to help this person. This is a good person. But God is just saying that there's certain assignments that He gives you in the lives of others that will require you to focus on them and what He told you to do for them, and not to turn that assignment into sharing your testimony. You can share a little bit, but pray and ask God what is enough to share, okay? So I want to give someone this confirmation. God will put you in a position to help people, but also remember something. Just because He says you're in a safe zone for the time being, it does not mean that you are to throw discernment out the window, okay? Sometimes people, they have no problem with you, and they love the fact that God is in your life and God is blessing you. When you start naming all of the things that God is doing for you, there's going to be that one thing on that list of things that God has done for you that may trigger them, that may actually end up shifting the energy in the room. Now, it does not mean that's your fault, because they have internal work to do. But again, not everybody knows that there's a spirit that could be hiding in them that they have to confront. You see, you would never know that you have the spirit of addiction until you find that one thing that you feel like you can't live without. And you would never know that you had insecurities until you meet someone that brought all those out of you. But the point of the matter is, When God sends you on your assignment to help people, do not talk too much. Focus on his assignment, okay? I love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye.